a survivor of the Yelewata massacre. She lost 5 of her children. The baby in her hands is her one remaining child, but she and so many others who were slaughtered that day, her family. We hear from them, we hear from her, the priest in the picture, that the horror is, the PTSD from that is just unthinkable. And so I just want to, it's a very short but very powerful video.
You see, Tinubu and his government, they can escape anything. But one thing I can assure you that they can never escape is this Christian genocide they are denying. Guess what? One of their representatives that they sent to US to go and speak in their favor in the emergency hearing in the US, public hearing. Guess what? After she finished speaking, they brought a victim of Yelewata to testify. This lady lost her 5 children with a little baby that is in her hands for using to testify. See, the reason why this guy can never escape is that, the blood that this people don't spill is too much. Only blood of Abel, God said he cried to him, top of the thousands. Let me stop here, watch this video, endeavor to, ensure somebody else sees it. In case today is your first time coming across my video, I want to say a big thank you to you for stopping by. This is Holy Ghost platform, a platform that tells you all the diluted truth.
Chairman Smith, Ranking Member Jacobs, distinguished members of the committee, I'm honored to share my views before this committee today. Just want to state that CSIS does not take policy positions, so the views represented in this testimony are my own and not those of my employer. In this testimony, I would like to reinforce the recommendations that I made before this committee in March. In addition, I would like to reflect on how this tenuous moment in US-Nigeria relations provide an opportunity for both countries to work together to address the critical threats of jihadist violence and insecurity in Nigeria, and to develop a more strategic partnership. The United States and Nigeria have a complicated bilateral relationship with shared interest in counterterrorism and economic development. But this relationship is often marked by periods of friction. Nigeria wields significant continental and regional influence, but grapples with violent extremism and internal security. Nigeria's leadership in West Africa is crucial, and its ability to address its governance and security challenges will impact not only its future, but the wider region. Nigeria's instability stems from a key shortcoming. Despite 64 years of independence, it has yet to establish a national identity grounded in basic freedoms and dignity. Currently, ethnicity, religion, and language, rather than nationality, define the identity of its diverse population. Understanding the violence in Nigeria requires looking beyond its apparent religious and ethnic motivations. For me, growing up in Jos Plateau State, I've witnessed the impacts of these ongoing conflicts on vibrant communities. In addition, coming from a family involved in Christian missionary work, I recognize the shared faith between Christian communities in Nigeria's Middle Belt and those in the US, rooted in the history of American missionary efforts. However, a narrow narrative that reduces Nigeria's security situation to a single story and frames it solely as the persecution of Christians oversimplifies the issue. Religious and ethnic violence is driven more by governance failures and is worsened by hate speech and conspiracy theories rather than being just a singular conflict. Nigeria is facing multiple security crises due to religious extremism, banditry, criminality, resource competition, communal disputes, and separatist agitation. These issues are intertwined with history, poverty, and political contestation. The interplay between religion and politics in Nigeria is deep and complex. Leaders often romanticize the country's unity, but fail to foster it, as we saw in the divisive 2023 elections. As Nigeria approaches another national election in 2027, religion will once again continue to influence candidate selection, voter behavior, and campaign strategies. The Trump administration's claims that Nigeria is permitting targeted killings of Christians distracts from the broader issue of extremist violence and insecurity in the country. Since returning to civilian rule in 1999, Nigeria has been a major recipient of U.S. security assistance, primarily aimed at counterterrorism. Despite this significant assistance, the extremist threat in Nigeria has...
This is of Mrs. Akpen, a survivor of the Yelewata massacre. She lost 5 of her children. The baby in her hands is her one remaining child, but she and so many others who were slaughtered that day, her family. We hear from them, we hear from her, the priest in the picture, that the horror is, the PTSD from that is just unthinkable. And so I just want to, it's a very short but very powerful video.
Good afternoon, good evening. It depends on where you're watching us from. I am Reverend Father Philip Apple, the coordinator of the Foundation for Justice, Development and Peace, FJDP, of the Catholic Diocese of Makurdi, Benue State, here in Nigeria. I am here with one of the survivors of the Yelewata massacre of 13th of June 2025 here in Nigeria, where we lost over 200 lives in a single night. So she is here to be witness as one of the survivors of that grave attack. So we'll listen to her. That her name is Msushima Akwen. That when they went into sleep that fateful night, around 9 p.m., the Fulani terrorists attacked them where they were sleeping. That they were locked inside the camp at Yelewata, and they were butchering them with cutlasses and shooting guns as well. When they thought all had finished at some point in time, they poured petrol on the building, and majority of them were set ablaze. That in the course of this action, she saw a tree up when she lifted up her eyes, and she raised her hands, head on the tree, climbed up where she was able to hit herself. That her 5 children that she left below were crying, and in her presence they were being slaughtered by the terrorists.
Okay.
That she ran out into the bush at some point, and those who came for rescue would now bring her out of that place at some point, and she was able to witness the whole drama. And when the people came, they were now relocated to a new camp. So thank you very much. This is the much we can receive from Msushima Akwen. God bless you.
When 200 people were murdered, killed in a church. Now, I want to ask this. So one question was, did things improve? I think the answer is no on that. Here's the question. Proportionally, do we see Christians killing Muslims in Christian areas of Nigeria the way that we are seeing radicalized Islamists killing Christians in Muslim areas of Nigeria?
What I can tell you, Representative Huizenga, is that Christians are disproportionately targeted based on their population.
Exactly. And by the way, for those that you can't pick up with the microphones, there's audible yeses behind you. Again, the people that are watching who are nodding their heads. Why? Because they have lived this. Their families have lived this. I went to school with kids from Nigeria. I've got neighbors who've been missionaries there, who have family there, who have friends there, who know this is going on. Yet we've got not just the mass media, we got people within Congress denying that this is happening, or certainly de-emphasizing it. It ought to be outrageous that it is Christians, moderate Muslims, anyone being terrorized by these radicalized Islamists in Nigeria, and we've got the Tinubu government sitting back and not doing enough. And I recently just was interviewed by Nigerian television, Arise TV, and that was really their question. Is the Tinubu government doing enough? And I had to answer, no, they are not. And I do not understand how a delegation can come here to the United States and downplay and come up with all of these other excuses as to why this is allowed to happen. It should be rejected and should be called out for what it is. And I've got a couple of other questions that my time has expired that I'm going to have to go and ask for them in written responses. But one of them I need to highlight is in Benue State, there's 1.4 million people who are considered internally displaced. Understanding that the administration has supported refugee assistance in dozens of other countries since taking office, what humanitarian assistance support are you providing or plan to provide to the IDPs in Benue and Taraba states, where many of those Christian communities reside? And I'll have to take the answer in writing. And Mr. Chairman, with your indulgence, just to show the breadth of this, I want to submit for the record remarks from the chairman of the Financial Services Committee, French Hill from Arkansas, who also serves on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, the Intel Committee. And I serve as vice chair of the Committee of Financial Services. This is where many of those sanctions originate and the enforcement. And I will say this, sanctions are only as good as your willingness to enforce them. And as the chairman has pointed out, there are ways to get out of those sanctions. And that's through correct your behavior. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to submit the letter. Thank you. And with that, I yield back.
Chair,
you should resign. You should tender your resignation, because you have failed. How long will this continue, for God's sake? That we cannot put our head to you can't wake up in the morning for good news and it's always bad news. We cannot lay our head down in peace. You have failed. President Tinubu, you have failed. If you don't put on a cloak of humility and swallow your pride and ask the US that you are overwhelmed, because I've told you before, like I've said before, that the Nigerian military will not win this war. Nigeria is losing this war. Nigeria is fast losing this war. Why? Because the number of people, the number of jihadist Muslims in the Nigerian military are overwhelming. Anybody, how do I know? Anybody, any Muslim, any soldier in the Nigerian military that adheres to the principles of Sharia is a potential terrorist, is a terrorist sympathizer. And so therefore they cannot win. Like I've always said, not because they don't have the capacity, but because they are compromised. You will not win this war. Nigeria will not, we are losing this war already. The Nigerian military is losing this war already. A general was killed like a chicken. Like a chicken in this nation. A general was killed. No press statement, nothing. And while all this is going on, sending Shetima to go and welcome new decampees to APC. For you, it is all about the election. You are a failure, Mr. Tinubu. I'm not afraid to tell you this. You are a failure. Partner with the US now. I'm telling you again, partner with the US. Call them for help. You cannot win this war. The jihadists have overwhelmed the nation. The jihadists have overwhelmed the nation. They are everywhere. They are in top government. They are in top military. They are the oligarchs in the north. Partner with the US. Let them help you at this time. Swallow your pride.
Just before you go, I want to beg you for one thing. I beg. See, you see the screenshot you see on the screen now. Now that's the name of my YouTube. I beg. Make una go YouTube now, please. Go follow me there. I beg una, please. You see, Uncle Mark, sometimes the guy they be like who they smoke Igbo. Sabalo comedy page, some time ago, I think 2 years ago, he deleted one of his page, made it reach 4 million, another one 2 million. He has experienced it twice, so anything can happen. So we just have to prepare for any eventuality. Okay, I beg, follow me on YouTube now. Just type the name as you see it on the screen. Okay, so you can also, in case any issue, you can also catch up with me there. Thank you.